My name is Jack Paronyan. I hope you guys enjoy the show. You guys heard about me coming to America from Armenia, my my background, my failures, my successes, and all the good things that happened in my life. And I hope everybody has a good time in this interview. And all the best.
Jack Paronyan, thanks for being on the show, man.
I'm glad to be here.
This is going to be an awesome conversation. Awesome conversation. You've got an amazing background, and I'm excited to hear you talk about it. And the information what I know about you and your background, the people that eventually watch this, tons and tons of value. All right. So
very good.
We know who you are now. We know that you're a successful business guy. You got multiple salons, a lot of shops, other ventures, right? But take me back to who you were before you became this successful guy that we all know now. You come from a different country. You're an immigrant. Tell me that story.
The story begins, I was 13 years old. And we decided to come to America from Armenia. And the story is, it was me, my mom, my dad. My brother was 1 year old. My sister was 14. I was 13. And
wait, you had a 1-year-old and a 14-year-old?
My brother was 1.
Yeah, but then it was somebody that was 14.
I'm my sister's 14. Big
difference in age.
Yeah, my sister's, yes, they took a long break.
Yeah, right.
My mom wanted a girl.
Yeah,
happened to be a boy.
Yeah, she figured one more try. She got
one more try, but got a boy. Anyway,
and you guys were all in Armenia.
We were all in Armenia, and first my uncle came. It was in 1989 when he came, and then you have to have somebody to sponsor you so you can be able to come as an immigrant to America. So he sponsored us, and we ended up coming in 1991. My brother, me, my mother, my father, my sister. That's it.
But what caused you guys to leave, right? Well, something happened?
Well, first of all, it was former Soviet Union. Number one, communism. And we weren't getting anywhere. The life was just tough. Everything you want to have, you can't have anything. Everybody was equal. Everybody had the same thing, and you couldn't have any more than that. There was no success. You couldn't succeed in anything you would want to do. So you pretty much...
You remember this at 14.
Yes,
like you remember it vividly.
Yeah. Everything you're pretty much tied up, and there's only one kind of lifestyle, and that's the end of it.
And that's the lifestyle they tell you you're going to have.
That's what you're going to have, and that's what you get.
Everybody's the same.
You get one kind of uniform you got to wear, and that's the uniform you're going to wear. And you have no options. You have no choices.
Did that go as far as even like what you're going to do for a living? Like you're going to be this, you're going to be that?
Well, based on living there's limited amount of money you could make as a employee, because you're basically an employee of the government.
Everybody works for the government. Nobody has its own business. So basically, whoever you're working for, it's just the government. That's your salary. That's all you're going to make for the rest of your life. And that's the end of it. That's all you have. Okay. So you guys left.
There's a lot of those reasons, you basically come for a better life, just like millions and millions of people did that.
When you guys left, was it like you had to try and get out, or was it like an easy process to just leave the country?
It's not easy.
They want you to stay in.
Yeah. The whole process took all the paperwork, everything you have to go through. It takes from start to finish, from the invitation coming from America as somebody that's going to sponsor you to finish. It takes at least a year. It takes at least a year for the whole thing to go through. Between paperwork and everything else, we had to do 2 interviews. 2 times I had to go to...
With the Armenian government.
1 interview. Not the Armenian government. We had to fly to Moscow. To U.S. Embassy.
Okay.
And that's when they approve you. You have an interview in the room. They ask you all the questions. Why are you going to America? Why you want to go there? Why are you leaving? And the only thing I knew is they taught me how to say, I love America.
Oh, you didn't speak English at all?
No, not a word.
You say that very good.
And so that's the only thing they told us. And like my mom, my father were like, they were all scared, you know, you got to be careful what you say, you know, when you're there, you know.
Because they could say no.
Yeah, because the officer, if the officer says, I'm not approving you, you're finished. You're going back home.
Now, if you say no, or if they say no and they reject it, do they actually somehow mark those people as like, now the government has a problem with those people because they tried to leave?
The only way they would reject if you had any kind of a past history, or if they ask you a question, if you're in KGB or you worked for the government and,
right,
you know, as some kind of a lawmaker or anything like that.
Right.
Or
are you a spy? Yes, I'm a spy. Okay, you're rejected.
If you have any of those backgrounds, then you have a little issue. But in our case, thank God, you know, we didn't have that issue.
And it costs money to do this.
I mean, I don't remember how much it was, but definitely, you know, the applications, all that stuff costs money.
Yeah. Did you guys have?
Of course, we had to fly to Moscow.
Right.
We had to get into these interviews. We actually had to stay in somebody's house. That my father knew that vouched for us, so we can stay at their house for like a week, so we can get this interview.
It's a whole process. It's a lot of planning. It's a lot of planning. Because they control how much money you guys have, is what it sounds like. When you left the country, you guys got to prove. When you guys all left, did you leave with much money? Like, what'd you come to the U.S. with?
We had $600 in our pocket.
That's your parents had that collectively. They had $600.
We sold our house for 2,500 ruble. We sold the house.
How many dollars is that? 600.
In those days, $1 was 20 ruble. Yeah, $1.
I need a calculator for that.
So anyway, it's not a lot of money, but in those days was a lot of money. I mean,
so this is 89.
An apartment in 1991.
91. Okay.
We sold our apartment for $2,400, and that was just enough to buy 5 tickets to come to America.
Okay, so you guys leave, you come to America.
So we sold the house to buy plane tickets to come here, and all we had was $600 in our pocket.
All
5 people.
This is a classic story. So you had somebody. So what happened when you got here?
I got here. We ended up staying with my uncle for about a month and a half.
All of you?
All of us. Maybe 2 months we stayed there. And then my father got a job with my uncle, working in the buildings, doing construction work. So as soon as he started making money, we went and we rented an apartment.
What was your father's vocation or job in Armenia?
Oh, he was a security in the building. He was security in a very big factory. He was doing that. And then he became a cab driver. In the end, when we were coming, he was driving cab.
Did your mom work?
My mom was a school teacher.
In Armenia. So they were both working.
They were both working.
So
she was a teacher in the same school I was going to. So
yeah. And you still didn't behave.
It's not good.
So you come here, so your dad starts working in a building. And did your mom get a job when you guys came here?
My mom, we had a 1-year-old.
Oh, that's right.
Home.
Right.
So she couldn't work. So
wow.
Long story short, it was pretty tough. So in the beginning, we actually asked for government help. So we did get welfare for about a year.
So the government will give you help as long as you came here legally.
Yes.
And they want you to get started, so they help you. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So we got welfare, which was we were living on food stamp.
Yeah.
And government money. We were getting, I don't know, $300-400 a month.
You can still remember how that felt?
You know, the first 6 months when I came here, actually, I couldn't get used to this place.
Well, you didn't speak the language.
I didn't speak the language. I felt very uncomfortable. Everybody was making fun of me. You know, you don't speak it. You know, the neighbors were making fun of you, and you're like a center of attention because they know you're not one of them. They know you're not one of them, so it's a little challenging.
Pause for 1 second.
Yes,
because the music. Oh, that music. The truck. All right, so pick up there.
So the first 6 months it was not easy at all. First of all, we came. It was in January, and I couldn't start school till September.
Oh wow! And where did you land, by the way?
Huh?
Where did you guys settle in? What?
New York.
So you were in New York?
Queens, New York.
In Queens, okay.
Yes. So for 6 months, I was, when I stayed at my uncle's house for 2 months. For the first month I was there, my uncle, my grandfather, my uncle's wife, and the 2 kids, and 5 of us
All together.
all together in that apartment. And after 20 days, I'm home. I'm only 13 years old at this point, not even 14 yet. A month later, I'm turning 14. My grandfather, as an immigrant, as a hardworking guy all his life, my father goes to work every day with my uncle. Even at 13 years old, I'm sitting home. For him, was like annoying.
Yeah, sure.
Why is this kid at 13? He's sitting home and doing nothing. So my godfather comes over the house, and he says, "Can you guys use this guy for something?" Because they had a carpenting business. They have a big factory. They were making beds, furniture, all kinds of stuff. He said, "Yeah, we can use him. You got a job."
So you were 13.
I was 13. My grandfather was like, "You got a job. You're going to work. No more sitting on the couch." That's what he was idea. I looked at him. I'm like, "What am I going to do in a factory that they make furniture?" I said, "I can't do anything."
You're going. That's it.
You go and that's it. We'll teach you. 8 in the morning comes. Van pulls in. They pick me up, take me to the factory. In 1 week, I was doing the same job. I learned how to do the same job. Making the bed from scratch. The only thing they would give me, the pieces of wood. Just the pieces of wood, nothing else. Sanding it, nailing it with a big nail, with the big gun. The gun was heavier than me, with the air hose. Doing the polishing, staining, grinding with the grinder, making the drawers, everything from scratch one. After 1 week, they couldn't believe. There's a Polish guy working for him, maybe 50 years old, the guy that was working 5 years there.
Yeah.
After 1 week, me being there, I did the same job as he was doing. 4 beds a day I was making. At 13 years old, I had my own station. So for 6 months I did that. It was paying me $50 a week. $50.
How much was your dad making a week?
He was making $400 a week.
Okay. Did you have to contribute to? Did you all pull your money together?
Every single penny. I would come home every week. That $50. It's like somebody handing me over $500,000 right now. That's what it felt like. I took the $50 and I gave it to my mom.
Yeah.
I said, "Mom, I made $50. It's so exciting." And then my salary went up to 75. I said, "Mom, I got 75. And then I got 100. By the end of the 6 months, I was making $175 a week. It was great. I mean, every single penny we put together as one family, and we just did everything together. I didn't take 1 penny from it, not even $1 from that salary. I would take, if I needed money, I said, "Mom, I need, $1 or $2 for something." But every penny, every week, as soon as I made the money, it was in my mom's hands.
So this went on until September, I guess.
Till September, then I started school.
Right.
And that was not the challenge for another 6 months, because the best part was I was with the same kind of people that didn't speak English. It was English second language. You had to go through stages.
So you're all experiencing the same.
Yes, everybody was experiencing the same thing.
Did you make some good friends there?
I made friends.
But you made some good friends there because you were bonding over a common experience.
Well, the number one friend that I made was the first day when I had the class. It was ESL class. It was English class. I think it was a homeroom teacher, and she passed out little cards for everyone to write down their name, their last name, and where they're from. And she took all those cards and she put it on a table, and she started matching who's from where. And if you're from Puerto Rico, Puerto Ricans were, you put all those together, Romanians, Armenians, all that stuff. So he had quite a few. Of course, there's a lot of Puerto Ricans. There's a lot of maybe there's quite a few Romanians.
Yeah,
It was Polish area, so there's a lot of Polish. And then there was only two that he put together, I guess. And he said, "Oh my God," he says, "you guys are from the same country." And I have no friends. I never met any. And the school that I went to, I never thought in my mind, the area, there's no Armenians living in that area at all. I mean, there's a sunny side, there's Woodside, there's Armenians there. It's possible you can see Armenian kids in those schools. But where I was, you couldn't see anything. It would be impossible to find an Armenian in there. And I'm looking at the guy, he looks like an Indian. He looked nothing like Armenian. So I'm thinking the teacher is making a mistake. So he says, "You guys are from the same country, from Armenia," like this. I'm looking at the guy, and I'm just like hopeless. The guy from there, he yells, like, in Armenian, says, "You Armenian?" I said, "Yes." "You Armenian?" He said, "Yes." I couldn't believe it. That was my first friend.
Yeah.
Alex, in English, we call him Alex. And we became best friends since then. And that was the happiest day of my life. Thank God he was here. But because of bad behavior, he was going to school in Sunnyside, and they discharged him from that school, and they put him in this school. And that's how I ended up meeting him. And
are you guys still friends?
He spoke English, of course. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
He was visiting me 2 months ago. He stayed in my house for a week.
Where does he live now?
He's in New York. Still in New York.
You had shared with me a story a few months ago about a friend of yours that in California. Not the same guy. It doesn't matter.
No.
So you got, all right, so now you're in school. Things are looking better, right? You're feeling better. At some point, you guys started actually making more money. Life's getting a little better. But when was it that you're like, this is a family, you guys were like, okay, we made a good decision. Now we're living a better life. This is why we did it. Like, how many years went by, or weeks, or months?
So I'm going to try to make it as brief as possible.
Yeah.
First, as soon as we started working, my dad started working, we were saving every single penny for 4 or 5 years. We ended up saving $50,000 in 5 years, which is a lot of money. We could have paying everything, and we didn't go anywhere. We didn't do anything. We just saved money.
This is in the mid-90s now, right?
In mid-90s already. So
just put that in perspective.
What happened to
$50,000 over 5 years? You guys saved everything you guys made.
Yeah, that's
put that in perspective.
Zero, and we came with nothing.
It took time and patience.
So when I turned 15, 16, what happened was my father met a friend here in New York that got introduced by my father's friend from Armenia. He says, "When you go to America, go see this guy." So my father went and saw the guy. And he asked my father, what can you do? He says, "Well, right now I'm working with my brother, but I'm a barber. I cut hair 20 years ago." He says, "When I was 18
This is your father.
years old,
He was a
my
barber.
father."
Okay.
Yeah. He says, when I was 18, I was cutting hair. And at this point, my father is 44, 45 years old. And the guy said, "I have a barber friend, Armenian, that works in a barber shop. I'm going to take you and I'm going to introduce you. Maybe you want to go back to what you were doing instead of being in the buildings, open buildings, freezing cold." So he took my dad to the barber shop. The Greek guy owned the shop. The Armenian guy was working for him. He saw my father. He says, "Can you cut hair?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "Why don't you give a haircut?" And my father says, "I don't speak English." And my father spoke a little bit Greek because my father was born in Greece and my grandfather spoke Greek. My grandfather, when the whole genocide, going back a little bit, Armenian, Turkey, genocide happened, they moved to escape to Greece when my grandfather was 7 years old. So my grandfather grew up in Greece. My father was born in Greece. My aunt was born in Greece, and then they moved back to Armenia. So my father has a lot of connection. He was very connected with Greek language and the whole culture and everything else. And the guy just loved my father. My father started, speaking a little bit Greek. He says, "I don't speak English." He says, "Don't worry about it. Mike will explain. Mike will translate. Just give a haircut. I want to see how you cut your hair." As soon as my father cut the hair, he says, tomorrow you start."
All right, so he was good.
My father ended up getting that job. After 6 months of construction, he went to cutting hair. So one day he wanted to introduce me to his boss. So I went to the shop with my father, and he introduces to me. And at this point, somebody that gave my father a job. My father, he was like God for my father. So the guy goes, "Nice to meet you." He says, "You like cutting hair?" If I would have said no, I would have gotten the biggest beating of my life when I got home from my dad.
You like cutting hair. It's not a question, it's a statement.
It's a statement.
Right.
He says, "You like cutting hair?" My father's looking at me. I said, "Yeah, I like cutting hair." So it's okay. From next week, every Saturday you don't have school. So Saturday will be open. Saturday you come learn how to cut hair.
Wait, what age was this?
I was 14.
You're 14, you're cutting people's hair.
No, to learn, to watch how to cut hair.
Oh, okay.
To watch.
Okay.
He says, "You like cutting hair? You like this business?" I said, "Yes." I can't say no. If I say no, my father will kill me.
Yeah.
The boss is telling you that, asking you a question. So I went and I started watching how to cut hair. The first week was the worst week. My father's like, "You have to take the broom and sweep the floors." I said, "Dad, I don't do that."
You must have loved that.
I said, "In Armenia," I said, "women sweep the floors. Men don't do that." I said, "I can't sweep the floors. I'm not going to sweep the floors in front of people."
Interesting cultural difference.
Yeah. So he puts me in a room. He says, "You have one option. Your second one you're not going to like. So I'm going to give one option. You're going to get out there. You're going to sweep the goddamn floors." Started crying, like hysterical crying, out of embarrassment. So I cannot believe I'm going to get out. There's a guy getting a haircut. There's a young girl sitting waiting for the boyfriend or the husband. And I'm going to go sweep in between their legs. It's crazy. I can't do that. You got to get up and do it. For me, it was awkward because I've never done that. I've never seen that. Same thing with going to the laundromat. I never seen. I couldn't believe my eyes. I see guys
doing laundry.
Guys doing laundry.
Interesting.
So that was the one freaky thing that happened to me. It's like I was pointing with my finger to my dad. I'm like, "Dad, look, the guy's doing laundry." Anyway, that's how I got broken in, basically. And then I realized, it's here, the culture doesn't care. It doesn't matter. It's not, it's normal. And, that's how, that's what I'm trying to say is it's so difficult to get used to another culture when you're coming from totally different culture. They come and be able to adjust to all these things here.
So language, and then it's actually the way we behave is different.
Yeah,
and you don't even know the difference. You're like,
we
what?
are like old school. It's like, it's crazy.
So then did you start cutting hair?
For 1 year straight, all I did was watch. And then one day my dad put a chair in a house, mirror, and he says, "You're going to start cutting the neighbor's hair." And the neighbors were German background, and they were very overprotective of the whole building themselves. They didn't like anybody from the outside. We were like the, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain. We were the dark ones.
Okay.
Let's put it this way.
Okay.
So there was an older guy there, Tony, and he was like the mayor of the building. The whole building was his relatives. I said, "I got to get to this guy, because if I don't get to this guy," I said, "this building is giving me too much pressure. Me and my family, they're making fun of us. When we get out, they say stupid stuff behind us. I hated it." So I go to Tony. I said, "Tony, you need a haircut. I'm going to cut your hair." He says, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, I'm going to cut your hair." Okay. Took him to my house. I had a little mirror in the room. Put him in a chair.
This is the building manager.
Well,
the mayor.
He's like the mayor of the building.
The mayor of the building. Okay.
Yeah. Well, his daughter was living downstairs. The brother was living upstairs. The whole family. We were the only ones.
So now you're going to cut his hair.
So I'm like, as soon as I cut his hair, and I cut his hair, I gave him, it came out okay, I'm assuming. He liked it. And he said, "How much I got to pay?" I said, "No," I said, "It's free." "What money?" "No money." I said, "I want to cut your son-in-law's hair, brother-in-law's hair too, your daughter's husband. Tell him to come to get a haircut by me. And your son, Anthony. And Tony." Tony was the guy was crazy. That guy was out of his mind. So anyway, I started cutting everybody's hair. And all of a sudden, just from that one trade that I had, I became a very respected neighbor from They forgot where I came from. They forgot how they were treating me before. They forgot who I was, like the hate that they had, the anger that they had. All that was gone just because of that trade.
One thing happened. They got to know you.
One thing, one haircut.
Two things. They got to know you.
So they got to know me, and when I showed them, different kind of kindness, let's put it this way, because who knows how they were feeling or who registered in their heads,
right,
who these people are. But when you personally start showing them, they're like, wow, we've never had this before. I mean, this guy's giving us something we never seen before. I never had before. So after that, everything went smooth. So then we started, saving money, and then ended up buying our house in North Flushing, New York. After 4 years in this country, we ended up owning a beautiful brick 2-story house. Got the whole place. Worked till 6 o'clock at night. At that point, already I was working with my dad.
So now you're
finished high school. Yeah, I finished high school. Went straight to working with my dad. Before that, I worked for another girl for 6 months. Just build up, little. She took me in. I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
And the first thing she says, "How old are you?" I said, "I'm 16." She says, "You can't cut hair. You're not legal."
Yeah, it's like there's rules. You have to get certified or something, right?
You have to. Well, besides certified, at 16 you can't get a license.
What's the age?
18.
18. Okay.
So she says, "But you cut good hair." She says, "I can't let you go." She says, "If anybody asks you how old you are, just tell them you're 18." I said, "Okay."
Yeah.
That's what I'll do. So from there on, I started working for her for like 6 months. I was going to school. I was in high school, and I would come home. I would go work for her for part-time after school and go home.
So you've been working since you were 13?
Yeah.
Nonstop.
So then when all that happened, my dad said, "You're good enough." The boss sold my dad the barbershop. He got sick, so he sold him the shop. And I was already 18 at that time, I guess, just when I finished high school. He took me right there and started working together. And the same thing. We kept all the money together, everything together. Didn't take one penny from the register. Didn't get paid any salary at all. The only thing I had was my tips. That's my spending money. But that's when we put everything together. That's when we actually were able to save enough money quick enough to be able to buy the house.
So wait, how many years is that from the time you guys came to the country?
It was in 1991 we came. 1997.
Okay.
I think we bought the house.
So 6 years went by.
No, 1990, 96 we bought the house.
Okay. So something like 5-6 years went by.
5 years.
You guys saved everything.
Everything.
Came here with nothing, saved everything. You learned a trade. Your dad knew it already, and you also learned something really, really valuable. It's how to connect with people, and how important it is for people to value what you do. Right? There's like a connection, and also that the ability to connect and to have people see you for who you are, not where you came from, which has been a problem forever. It's always going to be a problem, frankly. Most likely, people judge other people, but you got to experience that changeover. Especially, well, I don't want to fast forward too much, but you have a lot of friends. You have you're very well respected, and you've been building that over decades. All right, so now you got the house. You and your dad are in partners, or you're in the shop together.
Yes.
Okay. So then what happens?
And then we ended up buying another barbershop, a salon.
So you had two
in Manhattan.
Okay.
I don't remember right now how we got to it, but somebody must have told us about that salon in the city. So I ended up buying that salon to get my mother out of the house, so she was getting tired already. Always home. I was like, you know what? This is something we can give it to her, so she can manage. And I was going there once a week. I was cutting hair there once a week. After 2 years, I met my from going. At that point, I was already 23 years old. So at 21, we bought the
You bought the other business.
In Manhattan, and 2 years into it, it wasn't really doing that good because it was a salon. I know barbershop business. I never dealt with women cutting women, or women dealing with women.
Right.
So that didn't do so well. Slowly started dropping a little bit, and I wasn't there much. I was only there 1 day a week. My main business was in.
Did you guys sell it?
I ended up closing it down.
Okay.
We ended up closing it, and after that, we moved to Florida.
What did you guys learn from that? Because it wasn't a success. You bought it. I wouldn't say it was a failure, but it didn't take off. So what did you guys learn from that experience?
That experience was that you got to do what you know, and even though it's in the same field, it's not the same.
Yeah, you know what you know.
You got to do what you can do the best, and that's what you got to stick with.
And focus all of your attention on that.
And I think also the timing was also another problem because I couldn't split myself into two places, one all the way in Queens, one all the way in Manhattan. And my mom was not a businesswoman. She was just there to watch the business, but
she didn't know what was going on.
Watching is not the only thing you need to do.
Right.
You know, there's a lot more involved than just watching the place. So little by little, I just started, becoming a little confusion with the employees and not being able to communicate better with the employees, and all that stuff started going on, and just started going, downhill. But that was fine. I mean, thank God it didn't change our lifestyle. It didn't break our back. Let's put it this way. We did not put all our eggs in one basket. Basically, we still have our success.
We still had the main thing.
Yeah, still the main thing. We made things going. It's just something we tried, and unfortunately it didn't work out. But those failures actually made me a lot stronger, a lot smarter, and it doesn't mean I didn't have any more failures on different things because you always want to try other things.
Right.
Even though you have your set business that you're, profitable and it's doing good and that's what you always want to do other things to see if, you can succeed more in other angles.
Yeah, you want to push yourself. You want to see what you're capable of.
To see how much you can get.
I'm hearing one thing that I'm hearing throughout this is that you guys might have been scared, but I feel like there was a fearlessness. You have nothing to lose, right? So you go into business, you buy another business. Like, what's the worst that could happen, right? Because you came with $600, essentially nothing, which is very different than most of the people in this country who have something. So they're always afraid that they're going to lose something, so they don't take the risks to go into business. They don't take a risk to buy a second business. Like, it's you guys taking risks. Why not? That's an interesting thing too. Like,
I learned that from my dad. He took risks on a lot of things, and I learned that from him.
And it paid off.
A lot of risks, and a lot of things that even he tried to stop me. As somebody that knows how to risk and taught me how to risk, was stopping me not to risk certain things.
There were certain things you wanted to do. He's like, don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm like, no, you put me to this. You taught me like this. Now you can't take it back. Now you can't control it.
Right.
Because now I got to take my own risks. I want to have my own failures.
That's interesting.
I mean, that business, that shop was not my idea. Like in Manhattan, that was my dad's idea. He risked that. That was his risk, not my risk. I was old enough, to make those decisions at that time.
Yeah.
I just followed him, watching him making risks. So that's what and then I took off. I had my own risks in my life in business. That's not the only failure that I had. I have many failures in my life in business.
So you guys moved to Florida. Why did you guys move to Florida?
Why did I move to Florida?
Was it the whole family or just you?
Everybody.
Okay. So you have a business that's working. You guys are you kind of have the American dream already.
Yes.
You did it. Now you guys move.
Well, everything was good. And then 1 year risking again. Now I'm risking. I decided I was going to sell Christmas trees because, I was married.
Where'd that come from?
My father-in-law, he says, it's a good business, during New Year's, during Christmas. So I said,
you were going to stop being a barber and you were going to, oh, you mean in addition?
In addition, Christmas tree, it's only 3 weeks.
That's why I laughed a little bit. Wait, you're going to work 1 month?
It's only a month. That's all it is. I'm just trying to say how the whole thing started.
Yeah.
So here's me. I get in the car. This was maybe in August. And I'm going to check out the trees in Canada. I'm driving to Canada to check out the trees that we're buying. Because, it's a business-minded moment that you say, hey, I want to touch what I'm buying. Because, it's an old-fashioned, I guess, mentality about what it is. There was no computers in those days. There was no online services or reviews.
You got to go look.
You got to go look. So we drove to Canada and saw the trees. They looked good. I said, thank you very much. Came back, sent a deposit, half the money. Right away. It was 1,000 trees, 500 trees for me, 500 trees for my father-in-law. He was going to sell it in the Bronx. He had a lot in the Bronx, and I had a lot next to the barbershop. The barbershop was in the corner, and the landlord had a lot right next door. The corner lot was a fenced-in lot. I mean, perfectly for that reason.
Yeah.
Basically.
So 1,000 trees are coming.
That made it easy. I'm like, okay, this right next to the barbershop. I'm going to sell it.
Yeah.
So 500 goes to him. 500 comes to me.
How'd they get there?
By truck. They delivered.
500 trees.
1,000 trees.
1,000 trees.
1,000 trees. The worst part was 9/11 hit. We already had given the deposits already. 9/11 hits. We all know it was the worst Christmas for all of us.
Yeah, it's devastating.
It was devastating. So, and luckily for other things, it was a warm winter. No snow. And that made it more people not to think about have that Christmas image in them. On top of that, so there was no snow coming. It wasn't that cold. Anyway, my 500 trees that I was supposed to make like $10,000 in that profit, I got lucky by giving away the trees. Just in the end, I had to throw away the trees because people were not in the mood to buy trees. It was a lot of people were just devastated. Ended up making $2,000.
But you didn't lose money.
Didn't lose money. Ended up making $2,000 on the deal. But I'm talking about sleeping in a van every single day in a red van in the cold weather to protect my trees so nobody can steal it. Now I have a wife at home and I'm sleeping in a van next to the barbershop so nobody steals my trees.
For $2,000.
It's gonna make $10,000. I thought it was worth $10,000, but even that $2,000 was, I didn't want to lose that either. I don't know what I was gonna make in the end.
What happened to your dad's trees?
My father-in-law's trees. He was selling it in the Bronx doing the same thing. He ended up selling it, but again, they didn't make the money they were gonna make because of the whole situation.
Yeah.
If we were gonna buy those trees after 9/11, we would never send a deposit. We would never go in it.
Sure.
We would never done it.
I mean, you couldn't have
Nobody
done it.
would have the mood. I wouldn't even be in the mood to do that.
Right.
We wouldn't think about to do that.
Yeah.
But it was already sent. We had already sent $8,000 in deposit. We were gonna lose if we didn't buy the trees.
It was a good idea, but you can't. Outside forces beyond your
anyway,
control.
I made $2,000, and I told my wife, I said, listen, this money, I can't do anything with it. We're gonna jump in the car. We're gonna drive down to Florida. We're gonna spend it until it finishes, and we come home. We'll go for 10 days.
Okay.
We jumped in a car, and we came down to Florida. So here's my devastation already between 9/11, my hard work of 1 month making nothing almost. I mean, everything was like negative. And then I see this beautiful place, which I've seen before many times. And I always said, who would live here?
It looked different this time.
All of a sudden, it looked very different. I called my dad right from, at that point, I just had bought an apartment also in Queens.
Okay.
To move out with my wife. Even though me and my dad, we owned the house together, we wanted to have, separate our moment. I called my dad, I said, Dad, I hate to say this to you, but I'm going to say something and I'm serious. I said, I'm moving to Florida. I'm coming back, selling the apartment. You can have the house. I'm moving. He says, I go where you go. I said, okay.
And the rest of the family.
Huh?
Everybody moved to Florida.
Yeah. He says, I'm going to go anywhere you go. I go with you.
Okay.
So
but he still has the business.
Yeah. So we put everything
Sold
for sale.
everything.
Sold everything. Apartment, the house, the business. We sold it to the girl that used to work for us. We gave it to her. And we just moved down.
Did you guys do well on the sale?
Very well. We bought the house for $220,000. We sold it for $555,000.
Wow. That's good timing.
Yep. So that was
so
that.
Even look at that. So now you guys come with $600. Now you guys have
we came to
half
Florida.
$500,000 you come to Florida
almost
with?
$500,000 in my pocket. 10 years later.
Beyond you guys' dreams.
11 years later, coming to America from the moment that I walked in to the United States and then came to Florida, I had almost $500,000 in my pocket.
Hard work, dedication, persistence, not giving up, taking risks.
All that in 10 years with zero, with no English.
Right, so now you're in Florida. What year is this? How old are you?
This was in 2002.
Okay.
At this point, I'm 24, 25.
Did you open a shop here?
Well, first thing I did is sign the lease in a plaza that was going to take 2 years to build in Boca. And then I ended up working for somebody else for 2 years until they built the shop, until they built the plaza. And I worked for a very, very nice woman. She was the best, Robin. And I never felt like I was an employee there. I felt like I was an owner.
Yeah, it's interesting.
She made me feel very comfortable. We became very close friends, So that was the only time I worked for anybody, besides, the 6 months way back when.
Building the beds.
And that's it. And then we opened up the first shop here again. I built from the scratch.
Yep.
Had the space. That's the first time in my life I built a barbershop from the scratch, because I was, the other shops, we just bought the shops already. Now here's this one was actually, you had to build your own space.
It's also like your own vision, your own
vision, your own
vibe.
everything.
Like you got to make it like what you wanted it to be.
Everything, you had to do it on your own. And it's very, very much different than just going and buying a business.
So did it do well?
That one does very well until today.
You still have it?
Still have it. Still there.
That's the original one. So how many years ago now was that?
That was 2002, so 19 years ago.
Okay. So it's almost...
Well, right now it's 20 years.
So we're coming on 20 years. You still got the shop.
Well, we signed the lease in 2002, but we opened up the shop in 2004.
Okay.
So
that's the original one in Boca Raton.
Yeah,
Boca Raton, Florida. So you got that one, and you're doing the same thing. You're just doing your thing. You're building relationships. You're giving good haircuts. People are loving it. Then you opened a few more?
After that, I was there for 10 years in that shop, but like 5 years into it, right next door of my shop, again, my crazy mind says, you got to risk. I opened up a restaurant.
Oh, at least it's not a Christmas tree.
Mediterranean restaurant.
Yeah. That's a great idea, actually.
I had
but you don't know about restaurants.
I don't know anything about business.
Right. Wait, so you broke your own rule.
I broke my own rule.
Focus on what you know.
Focus on what you know. Well, I'm saying that now.
Yeah.
I didn't know
at the time the rule didn't exist.
That rule didn't exist. Right. That rule exists now because I got my fair share of losses that I had.
Right.
That brought me back to say, hey, listen, enough is enough. This is what you got to be doing. And that's the end of it.
So what happened with the restaurant?
The restaurant, I had a partner that basically said that he knows about restaurant, he knows about food, he knows about kitchen. And by having a lack of experience in business of that kind, I never really followed on trying to basically dig into it and see if he actually does know what he's talking about.
You just took his word for it.
I just took his word for it. Again, the old-fashioned way, shake hands.
Because you operate on trust and loyalty.
Yeah.
And I know you, so I know that's true. But you think other people do as well.
Exactly. But the guy was total opposite.
Yeah.
As soon as we opened the restaurant, he basically put his hands up. And by the time I got going, by the time, I started, putting money into it, and I saw he can't handle it. the business was already taking a dip. And then I ended up hiring these two brothers, finally. And again, even though I'm next door, you need somebody inside the place to watch him, manage him, and run it the right place, the right way. I can't go back and forth from the barbershop to rush it. It just doesn't look good. So anyway, slightly started, declining a little bit. So ended up having my other client says, "Hey, Jack," he says, let's switch it to a barbecue place.
Okay. Because you know barbecue.
American barbecue.
Right.
The sweet one.
Right.
So at that point I had, I'm like, this guy knows, at this point, he knows the business. He's in catering. He knows it all. I said, okay. So I got the space. You bring the rest of the money, and we just let's switch it up. Let's see what happens. We switched it up. The food was great. Everything was good. But this guy's in the catering business. He owns a commissary, a kitchen where he makes food and delivers.
Not a restaurant.
He's not a restaurant. Again, going back to barbershop and a beauty salon.
It's the same exact comparison. So he was doing something he didn't know.
Right. So he was into this. He ended up spending so much money between hiring employees. The cost was so high. Even though the food was good, people loved it. The cost was so high of everything because he couldn't balance it out. We were losing money every month, and he couldn't see himself to hire the right crew so he doesn't have to have that many people to run such a small operation. So that started declining.
So you guys shut that down?
We shut it down.
Did you lose money? Like in the end, did you actually lose your money?
Well, I lost what I put in the beginning.
Okay. So
that was at least $50,000, $60,000 loss.
Okay.
In there. And then at the same time as I had that, I opened up in the same plaza. I opened up ice cream place, ice cream and yogurt.
That was big back then.
Yes. That's that
was big.
What's the name of that? Rush? No, not Rush. Rushberry is what I called mine. And they used to be all over California, the tart yogurt.
I don't know. There was a place called TCBY, which was big back then.
TCBY, but in California, there was a big name. I forgot the name.
You opened one of those up?
I opened one of those. I put my own name. The berry was, I used theirs, but I put the Rushberry instead of, I think it was a blueberry or some berry. Okay. It was a franchise in California. It came out. It was all over the place. And then it just.
So you did this with a partner?
So that one I had no partner. I did it on my own.
But what did you know about, did you have any idea what you were doing?
Again, I opened that one.
To read a book?
I put my wife there to work, to run it. She couldn't run it. In the end, at least that one I ended up selling it. So that was the other thing that I did in the same plaza. That was my other venture.
Okay.
So I had the barbershop, restaurant, ice cream store.
How much did you lose on that one?
I didn't lose much on that one. That one was not bad at all. I was able to, to save the money.
So you hit on something that's really important, which is you fail and you fail and you fail, but you keep learning and learning and learning. And you've got to go through that. People have to go through that.
Yeah.
It's the only possible way to actually get to the place you want to be is you got to fail. And that's a common theme. Every business owner I know.
Yeah.
They've had tons of failures. Plenty of successes. But in the end, as long as you learn from those failures. So, okay, so you did this. That's one. So it's three of them you tried already.
Yeah, but I mean, this is two of them. The
Christmas tree, the restaurant.
Well, the Christmas tree, it's not a business. It was a reason for me to come to America. It was a 30-day, 20-day business.
And the ice cream place.
I was not going in the Christmas tree business for sure. Once a year.
And the ice cream place.
The ice cream place and the restaurant.
All right. So did you go back to what you know after that?
Never gave up what I'm doing. Don't forget that.
Still cutting hair.
Still cutting hair. Still got that. So I just started doing what I know. I opened up the shop in East Boca.
That's
which is fine. That's two. That was in 2015. And then 2019, I opened up the one in West Delray. They're all fine.
Didn't you have 4 at one point?
3.
You have 3. So,
well,
The first one, I started with my father, and then my brother came into the business. So as a nice brother, I gave him that shop.
That's the one they still have over by the Starbucks.
That's still by the Starbucks. That's the one
okay.
That's my original.
So you end up going. So now, at some point you went from 0 to, at some point you definitely were a millionaire. Like you had $1 million worth of, of net worth. As you've told me in the past, like you went from 0 to $1 million, but you went back to 0 at some point.
Yes, I did.
Did we cover that already? Was that somewhere in there?
We didn't cover that because that was the real estate part of my business.
Okay.
I made a lot of money in real estate when the spike was going up.
Okay.
And then.
So you took some other ventures. You were doing real estate. We didn't talk about that. Tell me about that.
Now we got the real estate.
Okay.
So at that time, when I was 26, 27, at the same time as I was doing all that, I was investing a lot in real estate. I ended up, I bought a house. I completely got it, remodeled it by myself, going to work, coming home, working till 12 midnight.
You literally did the work?
Literally did the work.
No kidding.
Most of the work.
Okay.
Lived in that house for 1 year. Bought it for $200,000.
Where was it?
It was in Boca.
In Florida. In Boca, okay.
Yeah. But this is when I was still working at
for the other lady. Yeah.
And the first house we bought right away in Boca. That was fine. That was with my family. I bought with my parents, and then we bought the second. I bought the second one when I was working there. The second one for me and my wife.
Yeah.
And that one, I got it completely. After 1 year, I sold it for $350.
What'd you pay for it?
$200.
What'd you put into it?
Probably $30,000.
Oh, you did well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
I'm saying I did most of the work myself. And when I say $30,000,
that's the materials and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you cleared some good.
So as soon as I was doing that, I'm like, man, this is good.
Yeah.
So I started, looking around the neighborhood. I run into another house. The house had to be completely got down to the windows. The only way to move into that house is to got everything, including windows, floors, everything. So I went, I knocked on the door, and somehow, when you become a little smarter, more bright, when you look at the outside of the house, when you see the condition of the house, you pretty much can tell what the inside of the house is. If it's not taken care of, if the grass is not cut, if it's dirty, if it's not pressure cleaned, if it's black sidewalks, the house is not in good condition inside either. So I go to the side of the house, walking by the side of this house. The pool was this full, this much full, maybe 10 years of water. Just the rainwater. Just the rainwater in there.
Oh, okay.
This much. I'm like, man, these people, how the hell did they live here? I knock on the window, I knock on the door. I said, you guys selling your house? Well, we're thinking about it. I said, you don't have to put it in the market, I'll buy it. I bought the house for $250,000.
You took the profit from the other thing you did. You rolled it into that.
I do that.
So you paid cash.
Yes. Well, no. That house was still not sold when I bought this one.
Oh, okay.
But it was such a good deal.
Yeah.
Because I was basically stealing it.
Right. So you saw the potential. You saw what you could
potential
sell it for. You knew the market.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as soon as that one sold, this one, I lived in 2 years. I got it. Bathrooms, kitchen, floors, walls, windows, everything. I did, again, everything basically on my own. After 2 years.
While you were cutting hair and running the shop.
Yeah. After 2 years, I sold that house for $550,000.
Okay, so you
I
did
bought it
that.
for $250,000. I put in at least, I'd say about $80,000 into that house.
Okay.
I'd say about $60,000 to $80,000.
So I lost track. So what'd you clear? 200 and change?
Yeah, I sold like
something like that.
$550,000. Some stupid
Plus
number.
you made 100 and change on the other one.
And the other one.
2, 3. So you're up like 400,000 now.
I'm doing great. Then I ended up buying 4 townhomes. I ended up buying another house in Lantana for me. At this point, I was so tired. I bought a brand new house. I said, I'm not doing anything anymore.
Right.
Just painting.
I just want to enjoy myself.
I just want to enjoy at this point. So I bought that house.
You took all that money and you bought the house.
No. Again, I didn't put all that house.
Okay.
Some of the money, down payment I put in, I bought the house, but I bought 3 townhomes.
Okay.
I have 3 sons at that point.
Okay.
I said, you know what? I said, as an immigrant, that you come, the first thing you think about is your kids. I said, I'm going to buy 3 townhomes, 1 for each kid. So I put down payment on all those 3, and I bought it, and I rent them out.
Yeah.
The market crashes.
What year was this?
In 2008, 9.
Oh yeah, that was it.
The house I bought for $560,000 was worth $300,000.
Sure.
The townhouses that I bought, they were worth half what I paid for it. I couldn't even get tenants to pay the rent. They couldn't even cover the interest rate was high. Between maintenance and mortgage and all that, I couldn't keep up with these places. So I ended up all going to foreclosure.
Oh wow.
So I ended up losing all 4 of them. The house.
Your credit was ruined.
Credit was ruined. Everything. I had to declare bankruptcy.
Did you have any money left?
Nothing. 0. Because everything I had put into those houses. Down payments for this one, down payment for that one.
Everything.
Everything.
But you still had the shop.
I still have the shop.
And it was generating cash so you could live.
That's it. That's all I had.
You lost. Oh my God.
And then the divorce kicked in. I got divorced.
Okay.
Right
around that time?
Right at the same time. Everything happened the same time in 2008, 2009.
Everything's crashing around us. You're getting divorced. You guys lost everything.
Family
You're bankrupt.
destroyed, broken up, house gone, townhouse is gone, everything I had is gone. The only thing is left is a barbershop. Moved in with my parents.
Then what? How'd you keep going? What'd you do?
I had 1 land in Fort Lauderdale that I put most of my money in from the sale of my house in New York. So when that one sold, thank God, finally we sold that one around that time. It was in 2000. From 2009 to 2015, basically, I was living with my parents, and just
9 to 15?
2009 to 2015, almost 4 years. 5 years.
You were back with your parents the whole time.
Back with my parents.
Well, thankfully you had that so you can get back on your feet.
Yeah. So
did you have to be home by a certain time every night?
Yeah, right. So all I was doing was just partying, single life, enjoying myself, and
not a bad thing in being Boca Raton.
Yeah, it was a nice 5-year break.
Yeah.
And ended up selling that land that I was partners with my ex-father-in-law. So that brought in close to $400,000.
To you or to both of you guys?
To me.
Okay. So I'm just curious. When you file bankruptcy,
I'd say about $300,000.
But when you filed bankruptcy, then you said you did bankruptcy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that money still came to you. You didn't have to give it to anybody else.
No.
Okay. All right. So you're back on your feet.
I'm back on my feet. And at that point, I got remarried. I brought a wife from Armenia. And
when did you meet her? Did you go back there?
It was my friend's sister.
Okay.
My best friend that lives in Armenia.
Yeah. So you kind of knew each other.
His friends. Yeah, there was a connection that they connected us. And went back to Armenia, met her. Everything worked out, checked out good.
Yeah.
Put a ring in her finger, and I came back.
She came back.
After 4 months, she was here.
Okay.
So after that, I was living in Boca West Country Club, rented an apartment over there because I wanted to be on my own again. And I gotta tell you, she saved my life basically, because I was probably, in my single life, I was enjoying it. Everything was perfect. I'm working. I still got the business, making money, almost no expenses, out and about every day, partying. I don't know how I didn't end up anywhere else, but thank God I ended up at home.
Yeah.
But it was a little out of control. And that kind of put me in control after I got married. And then one of my clients said, hey, he was buying houses in the auction. I said, I'd like to see how that's done, because I'm going to start looking also. I'm going to buy a house.
And I looked at the auctions, and one time, I was looking and I saw a house, and I ended up buying the house from the auction, bidding, and I ended up winning the house in Mazda Country Club.
This is the house that you're in right now.
Yep. So
how much did you pay for that house?
$340,000.
What's it worth today?
I bought it for $340,000. 100.
What do you mean? Oh, 100. You had to outbid somebody else.
100 is who that's how I outbid it.
Yeah.
The guy that had a reserve.
Yeah.
For $340,000. For $100, I want the house from the auction.
But so you paid. So how much is it worth today?
I'm in the contract for $1,140,000.
Okay. So back to millionaire. It was quicker the second time, wasn't it?
Yes. Well, I did the smart way the second time. There's a lot of things I don't do anymore. A lot of risks I'm not taking that I really took those risks already.
Right.
I already know what the success is and the failure is. So,
well, listen, going back to what I said before about being fearless and taking risks. Now you've got how many kids at that point?
Right now I got 5 kids.
So you have 5 kids. You do have something to lose. You've already been bankrupt. You know what it feels like to go back there.
Yep.
So you are still fearless, because I know you've got that, like, you'll try things, but now you can't take the risk you took before. You could, but now you weigh it differently.
I weigh it
because there's more to lose.
Yes. So one more thing I want to mention is that very important is I would not be able to get to where I got if it wasn't for help of a friend either. So I had my brains together. I put it together. I really became successful and built enough trust that I had a friend that would help me with the rest. Let's say, I didn't come up with $340,000 cash, let's say, to buy the house. I asked him if he can help me because I have to buy cash.
You've told me about this.
Yeah.
And I do know that you have...
He's a very successful guy.
You're very direct, and you've, as you've told me the story, you had a lot of nerve, like, a lot of guts to just go to this person and say, I need this. Can I have this? Something, the way that it was just very direct, but this guy trusted you and knew that you were good. Like he was going to get
There's only a few people he calls friends. And I've heard this from his friends. He says, Jack, if he's calling you a friend, this is one friend he says you're going to have. You can't lose. It comes once in your lifetime.
Yeah, yeah.
And those are very strong words that came from his friend. Even though knowing that I knew in deep inside, there's no way in a million years I will not eat, I will not go out, I will save every single penny and I will pay him back. And I'll work 24 hours if I have to. But stand up for my word. I knew I was good with that.
And this is somebody that it began as a customer of yours.
He started as a customer.
Back to what you were saying, like when you came to the country and you were cutting the hair of the mayor of the building, it changed your life. Yep. Isn't it interesting as that theme keeps coming up?
There's so many things that I was able to achieve is because of my clients.
Yeah.
But the friendships. They were 50 because of the friendship and the relationship that I built with them over the years.
Yeah.
And that's what I was just saying before downstairs, that it end of the day, it becomes a relationship. It becomes more of I'm not going to work anymore. I'm just going to see my friends most of the time because I've been friends with these people for 20 years. I mean,
the real relationships.
Now we're 40. Like, I built a relationship and I've become very good friends with most of my clients. And I'm very much liked and known. And I wouldn't be able to be where I'm at today, again, because of my job, because of my relationship with my clients. And again, everything comes down to how you run your business and how you handle, with people.
Yeah, yeah.
Your life. So that was my my other biggest success, is being able to connect with people.
That's like rewarding for you, man. That's a big deal. Considering you came here, you couldn't speak English, you're really unhappy, and you felt like an outsider, and it's the complete opposite. Complete opposite. You're like the center of many circles.
Yeah.
I know you. I know some other friends you have, and I know that you are liked by everybody. and everybody that knows you trusts you. You know,
Yep.
it's
Yeah, I don't have anybody
comes down to that,
that can
right?
say otherwise.
No.
I haven't done anything to anyone.
integrity and character.
Character, yeah, never.
Yeah, for sure.
Never tried.
There's a lot of lessons right there.
Yep. And like I said, the first shop, even the second shop, when I opened up in Boca, I went to my friend. I said, "Listen, I have this idea. I want to open up a shop. I want to have all these services, this, that, blah, blah, blah." He said, show me the place." I took him and I showed him the place. He says, "Jack, you sure about this?" I said, "Yes, I'm positive." "Are you sure about this? Can you do it?" I said, "Yes, I can do it." It was 3,500 square foot space. I had to gut it and rebuild it completely. Biggest project. He says, "How much money you need?" I said, "I can do it for $100,000. This is impossible." I said, "I can do it $100,000. "Okay. Come to the office. I'll give you the check." Just like that. I built the place for $100,000.
He gave you the check. You built the place for $100,000. That's the one you still have today.
Yes. And nobody believes that something like that could be done for that much money. Because I hustled, nickel and diamond, everything possible that I can do because I had a budget. That's all I got. I'm not going backwards anymore. I'm not going to go and ask for more money at other places and stretch myself even more because now it'll make me that failure again. So now I have this budget. I have to go with the budget and I have to get it done.
All right, you're learning.
So
You're learning
I opened that one.
along the way.
Along the way. It was very good, still good. I mean, COVID didn't help, but it's still there. It's good. It's doing the business. And then I saw the opportunity in West Del Rey location, which is right by the house.
You could walk there.
I could.
Yeah.
It's 30-minute walk, literally.
And that location is, I mean,
That
they're
location's-
building,
that's
they're
another
building,
one. Again, I go to my friend. I said,
same guy.
"I'm back again." He says, "What do you mean?" He says, "I got a great location." Believe it or not, and of course, the $100,000 that he helped me with to build up the first shop, obviously, as soon as whenever I said I'm going to pay him, it was paid. So that's how I built my relationship also, because when I say something that I'm going to do,
It's reliable.
it's reliable. I'm going to do it. There's no way. It might be impossible the day before, but the day that I said I'm going to give it to you, I'll make it possible for that day. I'll do something and I'll make it possible, whatever it is. He says, "How much you need for this one?" It's another 100. He says, "You can't build this one for 100. I said, "This one's got nothing." That's what he told me. He says, "It's got nothing. You're getting nothing. This is not. You have no bathroom, no walls, no floor, no AC." He says, "There's no way." I said, "I'm gonna do it. I need 100." He gave me the 100. Told him when I'm gonna pay him back. Paid him back. Say, as of today, he gave me $200,000 to buy towards the house. Almost $200,000 in paying for the shops. As of today, I owe $0.
And he was
And that's
glad
all-
to do it for you.
Glad he does it for me. Because he knows I'm good for my word. And number one is the friendship that I have with him. I will never lose that for anything. He's my best friend. I mean, I can't describe the guy any other way. He's my number one friend, I would say.
And you
it
started
all
out as a customer.
As a customer.
You can't underestimate that, you know,
No,
the power of that.
no way. Everything I have today is because of him.
You,
Because he believed in me. He risked his money, gave it to me. And because of him, I have all this right now. I made it work. And that was the other reason that I can't fail.
there's an expectation. There's some pressure.
There's
Right?
pressure. But the biggest pressure
You're not
is
gonna let
that
him down.
I cannot fail.
You're not going to let
Can't
him down.
I'm not going to let him
You're not
down.
going to let yourself down or him.
Number one, him.
At this point, up your wife, your kids, like it's
Yeah,
a little different.
exactly. So there was a lot of up and down. I'm very comfortable today. Let's put it this way.
That brings us to present time.
Yep.
That brings us to present time.
Everything I went through last 6 years, I brought everything back times 5.
So you went 0, millionaire, 0,